everyone, it's Lindy. So today I wanted to do a real quick video about the cost of doing business. I just felt like maybe it was something that we should talk about because I know that a lot of my viewers are newer sellers looking to maybe get started or just getting started with reselling. And so I wanted to make sure that these got brought up because there are costs associated with reselling that maybe some people just don't think about. Nobody really brings it up a whole lot. So I wanted to make sure to put it out there so everybody knew. Now, there are obvious costs of business. And so I'm not really going to talk about the obvious stuff. I want to talk about the not so obvious stuff. The obvious stuff, of course, are the things like cost of goods sold. You know, the money that you have to spend to actually go in, buy something to turn around and resell it. That's upfront money. Also, shipping costs. You know, when you have to buy shipping supplies, you have to buy tape, the poly mailers, boxes, bubble wraps, stickers, thank you cards, anything associated with shipping the item, as well as shipping labels to ship the item. Those are all costs you know are going to be associated with your business. Also fees. You know you're going to have to pay eBay fees, selling fees, insertion fees. You know about all of those costs of doing business. So I want to talk about the ones that you might not think about. Now, they're usually not huge costs, but they are there and they can eat into your profits if you completely forget about them. I want to start off talking about the biggest one, and that is return shipping costs. So when we're selling things on eBay, if somebody opens an item not as described case, then the seller is required to pay return shipping to get that item back. And that is a cost that we straight up have to eat up. There is no getting around it. Even if the buyer paid shipping the first time, if you got to pay to have it shipped back to you, that's on you. That is out of your pocket, and that comes out of your profits. Unfortunately, in this business, that's something that we just have to wash our hands of. If we need to take a return back and pay for it, that's what we call the cost of doing business. You just have to eat that shipping cost. So that's the first one. Non-obvious item number 2, lost goods. That can happen. When you're working with the mail system, sometimes things get mailed off, never to be seen from again. And that is a cost of doing business. If you ship something to somebody and they never received it and you're forced to give them a refund, like if tracking gets screwed up, and there are so many different ways a situation like that can go. You know, if a buyer doesn't receive an item, if the tracking states it was never delivered, then you might have to open an insurance case. If you have insurance, if you didn't have insurance on the package, if it was just first class or it wasn't a super high value sale, then maybe you don't have insurance on it. And if the buyer says they didn't receive it, tracking didn't get updated, the item is gone. You've lost the item. You obviously can't get it back. You know, and then same thing with priority. If you do have insurance on the item, if it gets lost in transit, you have to refund that buyer. At least I do. I don't make the buyer open a, this is just me. This is just me. I don't make the buyer open a insurance claim with USPS if the item is lost. I do that. I feel as the seller, that's my responsibility. So if an item gets lost with USPS and the buyer contacts me, it is a cost of doing business. I refund the buyer and then I'm the one who deals with USPS. And more often than not, I'm SOL. I'm out of luck. I have filed 3 insurance claims with USPS in the last year, and I have been paid out 0 times. So that again is just another cost of doing business. Luckily, I don't sell things that are super high value, so I haven't lost out on more than, you know, well, I have had to refund probably $60, $70 worth of those 3 items, but the actual cost of goods that I'm out is more like 10 bucks. So that's not horrible. It could be a lot worse. But again, that's a cost of doing business. If stuff gets lost in the mail, you have to refund a buyer, and then your item is just gone. you're out that money. That's another cost of doing business. And the third thing, and the last thing I wanted to bring up, is accidentally buying damaged goods. That can happen, and when it happens, it's just a cost of doing business. You know, there has been many times I have bought something for resale and it's not sellable. Maybe it had a really big stain that I didn't notice. That's probably my biggest one, is finding those stains that are hidden to the naked eye, but the minute you go to like take a picture of it and and you see the flash or the lighting and the camera pick up this phantom stain you didn't know was there, and then you're like, I can't sell it now, you know, or maybe there is a rip that you didn't notice, or some teeny tiny small holes that are significant enough you don't want to sell the item. Well, if you've bought something to resell and now you can't resell it for whatever reason you overlooked, you're out that money. Again, it's another cost of doing business. The only way you can really get around that is to make sure that you really inspect the items that you look at. But then again, speed comes into play. Our eyes can deceive us. That's another cost of doing business. Same thing when you buy things at maybe garage sales or Goodwill that are maybe electronics, hard goods, things like that. Maybe they're things that you spent money on that you thought were working properly, or you got them home. Maybe they broke while they were at your house. You know, that has happened to me before, where I've had a hard good and it dropped and broke. And so whatever I spent on that item, it's busted, can't sell it now. That again is just another cost of doing business, and you have to account for those kind of things. That way, if they happen, they don't surprise you and eat deep into your profits. The best way to keep from getting hit with those and to the point where it's starting to harm your business is to make sure you're thorough. You know, get insurance on your packages whenever you can. Make sure that you're closely examining items before you buy. Make sure you test items. Even if you're buying them from a garage sale, ask the person running the garage sale if you can plug something in and test it. You know, I learned how to do that from my dad. I used to drive to Kansas City and do like neighborhood-wide garage sales with my dad on Saturday mornings over the summers. So, and whenever we would go out, boy, my dad, if there was a small appliance or an electronic, you better believe my dad was asking them for an outlet. And more often than not, the people that were running the garage sales would already have extension cords out. So they're going to assume that you're going to ask. So don't be afraid to ask. Don't just buy something assuming it works when you have the easy capability of just asking to test it yourself. That'll avoid losing money there too. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and let me know. If you have any questions, tips, comments on this topic, stick them down in the comments. Is there a major cost of doing business that maybe I left out? Those are just the 3 that stick out to me the most. So if there's any that maybe I forgot that people should know about, stick them in the comments. All right, you guys, all of my contact information is in the video description. If you haven't subscribed to me yet, I hope you will. Thank you guys again. I will see you with my next video. Bye.